Good afternoon, everybody. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So, thank you so much for that introduction. Good afternoon to you, Dr. Harbi, to YB Senator, to YB Datuk Zraida, and Your Highness, bonjour, Coco, and everybody else here today. So, I am delighted to be here. I am excited to be here, and I'm inspired to be here today with all of you. So, Dr. Surina, thank you for that speech. Having been in government for 3 years, I completely agree with you. We need more women in government. We need more women driving policies. Policies is actually one of those things where a switch of a thing can impact a lot of people. One of my biggest lessons from being in the government and being at an agency like MDEC was realizing the power, the impact that you can bring in these kind of organizations. So I really support what you said just now. And thank you so much for your words. You really talked about the why it's really important to have women as leaders. But I'm going to open up by saying the word empowerment. We talked about this all the time. Female empowerment, women's empowerment. I actually don't like the word empowerment. In fact, I want to discourage you guys from using the word empowerment. Why? Well, in preparation for every speech, of course, what do? You Google. So I actually Googled. I looked up the definition of empowerment. And what does it mean? It's to give power or authority to somebody. To give power. Now think about it. Who is giving you that power? Where does it come from? Why? Because you don't have power? Is that it? What I saw the two young ladies over here step up on stage, full in power, full in confidence. The truth is, and then Dr. Zuraida just now said, we give birth to life. That's power. The truth is, women do have power. We have power. We don't need to be given power. However, I want to offer up 3 words instead. So whenever you think about women's empowerment, put that aside. Think about these 3 words. The first word is entitlement. Female entitlement. Female entitlement, because it has to start there. It has to start with a conviction in your mind that you're entitled to being on stage. You're entitled to sit at the table. You're entitled to change policies. You're entitled to host. You're entitled to all the things. Entitlement. Remember, if you don't start thinking that you believe that you're entitled, you're not going to get very far, because it all starts in the head. That's number 1. Number 2, equality. Yes, it's 50% of the world's population. Why wouldn't it be equal? We can do, just as Dr. Zraida said just now, we can do a lot. We're equal in many regards. And oftentimes in organizations, you need diversity. You need to have women in organizations as well. So equality, entitlement, equality. And the third word that I want you to think about, whenever you think about, you hear the word empowerment, like put that aside, it's engagement. That's really what we need. Women, we need to engage. We need to engage with each other. We need to engage in organizations. We need to engage in order to make impact. And most of all, we have to engage with ourselves. Most of the time, I take a step back and I think, what is it that prevents women from doing the things that they know that they need to do? It's fear. It's fear and the thinking that they don't have the power. So, while I have my time on stage, I'm going to share some lessons from my personal stories that may help you, hopefully, inshallah, to step into your power. Because each and every one of you are powerful. You have power. Step into your power. Practical tips. So I'll share with a story my story. So in the introduction there just now, you heard I spent pretty much my grown-up life in New York City. I don't come from a privileged background. You know, my father was a civil servant. I went to a boarding school in MRSM, but I had, after graduating from college in the US, I came back to Malaysia. And then I thought there was this yearning to go back to the US because there was a lot of exciting things happening then. It was .com, you know, finance. It was you know, I had visited New York City and fell in love with New York as the capital of the world. And I thought, I need to be there because the opportunities are there. And I always saw myself as an adventurer, so I wanted to be there. But of course, that would mean breaking my bond. I was a scholar. I had to break my bond and pay everything back. And back then, you know, it was 100,000 US dollars at 2.5 exchange rate. Oh no, actually 3.8 exchange rate. So better than today, but still a lot of money. And so everybody, my entire family, my mother, my father, my uncles, they all said, no, do not go. Do not go. And so of course, you know, I had thought about it. I had run all sorts of, looked at different scenarios, all the risk, how am I going to pay this back? And so managing, thinking about the downside, all the things that could happen. And then I suddenly paused and thought, wait a minute, we are always thinking about the worst thing. What's the worst thing that could happen? But nobody actually, other than myself, asked, what's the best thing that could happen if I do this? So there I was, 24 years old. I decided, you know what? Yes, my best case scenario looks like this. And so with that, with the conviction to ask myself, what's the best thing that could happen? I decided that I would go anyway. So me, my little cat, I actually brought my cat, her name was Pusette, and we went to America. And sure enough, you know, when I look back, you know, the best thing what happened ended up being better than my best case scenario because, oh my God, not only did I have this amazing experience working at JP Morgan, one of the best financial institutions in the world, I actually met my husband there too. When I was least expecting, you know, when I was sure I was going to be cat lady, and there he was, Malaysian some more. And so whenever you feel scared about doing something, taking on a big risk, just ask yourself, what's the best thing that could happen? Because everybody else will basically talk to you about the worst thing that would happen. They'll come and say, this is not going to work, that's not going to work, that's not going to work. So if you're starting a company, starting an organization, ask yourself, when you're scared of that, when you feel fear of that thing that you're about to do, fantasize on that, dwell on that. What's the best thing that could happen? So, second story I'm going to share, another life pivotal moment. Yeah, so here I am, I'm enjoying, you know, the best thing that could happen. My career in New York City, my husband, my children. So then 15 years later, when I least expected it, there I was thinking about promotions and what to do. Suddenly, what does life give me instead? A diagnosis. Those dreaded words that impact many, many women, many, many people. So the big C got me. So I was diagnosed at 39, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, level 2.5 or so, what do you call it. So it was quite shocking, and it was completely unexpected, and it completely ruined all my plans, of course. And of course, for a while, I was constantly feeling sad, of course, and wondering, going around saying, why is this happening to me? This is so not fair. This is so not fair. Why is this happening to me? And then one day, I had a discussion with one of my mentors in New York City. This incredible lady, this incredible woman, and she sat me back and said, Surina, you know, the question you really should be asking and thinking about is, why is this happening for you? Why is this happening for you? It's just that subtle, that's just one word. Why is this happening to me? Why is this happening for me? Completely changed my perspective. What was once something that I feared all of a sudden got me thinking, wait a minute, there is a hikmah here. I'm sure God in His infinite ways, there's a blessing here. There's a reason why this is happening for me. And so that got me thinking about what's most important in life. That got me, it significantly improved the way that I lived, i.e. how I ate, how I exercised, my relationships with my family, how I felt about work and everything else. And so with just that, so life is going to throw things at you. In your step, in your process of taking on that risk, being a leader, doing whatever, you're going to have times when things just don't go your way. There's that famous quote by Mike Tyson, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. So what are you going to do? And so for me, that lesson was just reflecting back. Why is this happening for me? And so now these days, whenever I have a hard time, I start thinking about that. Which then brings me to my third story and third life pivotal moment. So when I was least expecting it, this was after GE 14, all of us that's abroad, many of us didn't think that we would ever come back, but GE 14 happened and suddenly there was this trending hashtag Jom Balik. And so everybody was, yes, true, there was a trending hashtag Jom Balik. And so it so happens that the universe actually found me in a conversation with the Prime Minister's office. And they had said that they found my profile, thought I was interesting, and had asked me to lead MDEC. MDEC is one of the most important government agencies responsible for digital transformation for not just one state or industry, but the entire country. So of course, I thought, oh my God, this is a huge job. Actually, didn't realize how big it was at the time, but it's a big role. Should I do this? Should I not? And of course, I thought, yes, I must, because I didn't seek this. The universe placed this, so there must be a reason. This is divine intervention that got me here. But what do I know? How am I going to do this job? And so in life, there will always be a time when you think that you are not prepared yet, when you don't know whether or not you can do it. But I decided that I would do it anyway. I was, of course, very scared. But what helped get me through, especially in the beginning days, was just thinking, let's take it one step at a time. One step at a time, we'll figure it out. If you don't know, if you ever find yourself in a position where you don't know how, and it's intimidating, you feel like there's this immense pressure on you to do things, what you can do is just focus on the next step. And then for me, all I was focused on was that, okay, I'm just going to update the website. I will do that. I can do that. But with that, once you get in it, you'll build that momentum. So just focus. If you ever find yourself feeling scared, and fear, not knowing what to do, just focus on that next step. So ladies and gentlemen too, my call to action for everybody in this room today is to step in to your power. Know that you have power. You have power. You have power to vote. You have power to engage. You have power to not to come to the office if you think that it's a toxic environment. You have power. Step into your power. It's not women's empowerment. It's female entitlement. Believe that, know that, and together, looking at all of you as leaders in this room, I know there's hope in everything, hope for a better future for all of us. So thank you very much, everybody, for your time and for listening.